Hey everyone, it's Libby from Maighstirtarot. I'd like to acknowledge the Worimi First Nations people. It's WORIMI, and welcome to you, your guides, my guides in the universal energies. Thank you so much for joining me. I've got MTG resigning noted down, but I'm not going to look at that today. A lot of readers have already looked at MTG. She's more than likely setting herself up for a run for the governorship, the Kemp position, giving herself plenty of time. Typically, she's resigning 1 or 2 days after she qualifies for the federal pension for life. You know how that goes. Yeah, money, 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 put it in my pocket. And it's very likely it's in regards to, she can read the writing on the room that the GOP is absolutely stonked. But she knows that investigations are coming for Congress people for insider trading, and it's much easier to just cop a fine and slink off into the darkness if you're not actually a member of Congress. She will eventually get had up, is what I'm getting, get pulled before the courts for insider trading, but it won't be for quite a while. There's a lot of dirt to get through before they get to the likes of MTG. I also get the feeling that she's going to be setting herself up as a alternate party along the lines of the Australian Pauline Hanson, and an alternate party to the Republicans as well. So just watch that space, yeah, and just watch that space. I think she's setting herself up as a star, but she's going to be fully exposed and everybody's going to see through her. So just watch this space. When she actually makes any sort of announcement, I'll have a look then. What I want to have a look at in this particular reading, and I'm using the Golden Universal Tarot, haven't got any notes on this. I've got a newspaper article on one of my other screens, the G20. So the G20 summit has closed. The US decided not to send a representative there. But basically what's happened is that it's a gathering of the world's major economies, ended with a joint declaration committing to multilateral cooperation. Now, what happens at the G20 is that, to be honest, it's the networking. If you've ever been to a conference, it's the networking that happens behind or between the official meetings, which is where all the action actually takes place. Over the cup of tea, over lunch, a drinks afterwards, etc. Now, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has come out and said it was not a good decision for the US to abstain, basically because of the discussions that took place about the rest of the world coming together. He told Reuters news agency that what he noted at the G20 was that the world is currently undergoing a realignment and that new connections are being formed. So, yep, very much so. So I just want to have a look to see what came out of the G20, and let's see where it goes. If you could hear that, I was shuffling while I was reading segments of that news article. Entertainment only. Let's have a look. The G20, supposed to be in the United States next year. I might have a look at that too. Okay. The signifier card here is the Justice card. The sword of truth being brought forward, actions having consequences, important decisions were weighed and balanced and made that the US was simply not part of. But I'm not looking at the US itself, I'm looking at the G20. Actions having consequences and a new world, I'm going to say new world justice, not a new world order, a new world justice. Now, again, it was the conversations that were not official that are going to be really important going forward. So I'm going to have a look at those too. This might be discussions were made about international justice, about manufactured conflicts to cause immigration issues, those sorts of things. Let's see where this goes. The challenge is the emotionally walking away or abandoning what no longer serves and moving forward. the leaving behind of those that were not involved. It's not going to be a simple journey. You've got a big crevice here that this figure has to get across, and then the mountains in the background. But this is very much about leaving behind the emotions of the current situation and moving forward. This may also be countries moving forward of their own volition, leaving behind the emotive rhetoric. Okay, with his staff, you notice this figure with his staff, he's got his Ace of Wands with him. New plan going forward, leaving behind the emotional rhetoric. Okay, yeah, it is the end of an era. Just asking what came out of this G20 summit, the energy that it's stewing in, an end of an era and the beginning of a new. So there was a big shift that took place at this G20. The trampling of the wannabe kings, the wannabe dictators, and a new era dawning. Okay, in the past is the past. The naivety of the past, done. It's in the past. Crowning this reading, looking at options, looking at the choices that are available in what is a withering vine, because the old way of doing no longer works. Looking, okay, thank you. What I'm getting from this card is that there was a very keen observation made of what is worth saving from what is a dying past. There were some big conversations that took place here. This is going to be really interesting to have a look at. This is looking at what is worth saving from a dying past in regards to capitalism, financial oligarchs. I'm getting financial corporations, but it's things like obscene CEO payouts where the workers are paid barely subsistence, if not even subsistence. There were some big money discussions that took place here about what to save going forward. The immediate future, not liking what is on offer here emotionally, rejecting the emotional offer. What have we got here? The rejection of the emotional. Right, strength in this ending, new beginning. The immediate, externally, big strength, but also shutting down the orange twerp. Internally, forging a new path in the face of hidden agendas and hidden secrets, about the civility of humanity versus the base, brutal instincts. A new path that they know that it's not going to be easy. There's going to be ups and downs. I think there was some really powerful alignments that came out of this that we're not going to hear about straight up. Hopes and fears, yeah. The sword of truth, new strategy, new beginnings, bringing forward truth in these discussions, cutting through the BS, the outcome. Yep, financial legacy for the next generations. The old oligarchs, the dying off oligarchs, and the next generations. It's not going to be easy. We've got some serious nightmares and how to bring it about, but we have strength in the plan with the King of Wands there. There is going to be an adjustment in finances with this Two of Pentacles by certain world leaders that's going to Three of Swords. It's going to cause a feeling of betrayal by some. But you've got this King of Cups, it's my Biden card, and you've got the Chariot card, movement forward. This is negotiators and diplomats as opposed to using the military. Use of military is going to grind to a halt. Okay, I'm just seeing what the next cards are. The dying oligarchs, the contracts and agreements, a new offer, false offer, restriction, false victory by the devil. News is going to come out about it. Volatile news is going to come out about it that's going to change everything. There was some really interesting behind the scenes discussion here. We've got the abuse of power and betrayal about big money, and then we've got the King of Swords. We've got uncharted territory. News coming from overseas that's going to change everything, and it's going to be klaxon siren. There was some, okay, let's talk about these discussions that happened behind the scenes of the G20 summit. Was there discussions? Let's have a look. Discussions about, okay, let's start first. The easy one, the discussions about shifting the economies of the world. Shifting the economies of the world. Entertainment only. Were there discussions about a shift in the economies of the world? And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about a move away from the US dollar being the commodities trading. I'm talking about plans to tax companies like Google and Facebook, etc., and Amazon in the country of origin, and taxing multi-billionaires to getting rid of havens, so they can stop sort of switching money from one country to another to pay no tax. Let's have a look. Was there, tell me about discussions about, okay, you want that one, changes in world economies. Planning for the future, Three of Wands. Challenged by the bringing down of the status quo, the Tower card. Yeah, I'm going to say yes, there was. Planning for the future, looking at other options on the international scale. And the challenge is to bring down the status quo that is no longer working. Got the Sword of Truth, the energy it's stewing in, a new strategy coming forward that will cut through in the past, the restrictive nature of what was, stepping out from those bounds, stepping out from the connection to potentially to the US dollar. Notice there's no Pentacles card so far. And then we have the Lovers card, the unbalanced relationship that a light is being shone on. So this is about a breaking of the unbalanced relationship. The immediate future, the Knight of Cups, an offer of a new, something new being brought forward, the Page of Swords externally, bringing forth this strategy that was underlying it all. and it is about shifting the money control. I'm getting there were some really big conversations about concern of the amalgamation of money control in sort of a few crypto country organizations, this sort of thing. We're talking about a shifting of the money from these aging methods through into the new, and from the old to the young. Let's see where this goes. Yeah, the hopes and fears is the oligarchs, the decrepit old way of doing business, capitalism. It's dying. There were some big discussions about this, the outcome coming together with a new agreement, new balanced agreement here. Look at the difference between these two cards: unbalanced, balanced, setting up guardrails and boundaries and backstops, and looking at the world situation differently. And then we have the Sun card, and then the Ten of Swords downfall. Ten of Swords downfall. As this new is being revealed, downfall of the old, the joyousness of the young, new, downfall of the old, revealing with that Queen of Cups, revealing this new era, this new cycle. We have the Justice card, we have the difficult road with the Moon card, but it will be for the people with that Ten of Cups. This is interesting. Right, so those that, the abuse of power, the win at any cost, the it's what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine too, Five of Swords. They had a good look at money and the stealing of money, and it's very much about they had a really good, there were some really intense discussions about the concentration of money that is casting the general humanity out, that is not available. The stealing, legitimate stealing perhaps, but yeah, there's something new being brought forward here. Those that feathered their nest under this empirical agency through the dark money systems, etc. We've got the Two of Swords, we've got the Eight of Wands, and we've got the High Priestess. Hidden agendas being revealed. I'm not talking about this from the G20. This is about those that benefited from the old ways. False victory, the military, Biden. It's just getting rid of the regime perhaps in the US. Volatile information coming out. Big wake-up call, infighting, Russia. Legal action with the Queen of Swords, and a return to protection of those that are most vulnerable with the Six of Cups. Yeah, this really, I think in the G20, pardon me, there were some really intense discussions behind the scenes about a new world financial order that the parties have gone by. And I think that's why Mers said that, made that comment, that it was not a good decision for the US to abstain, and the world is currently undergoing a realignment and new connections are being formed. So let's have a look. So yeah, I think there's a financial realignment that's happening. Where do I go with this? I don't know where to go with this. They're actually telling me there's really not a lot of news. Others, okay, what else was discussed? Well, what else was discussed was the devil and its connections that are sitting in the White House at the moment was discussed behind the scenes. What else came out of this? Yeah, Epstein information. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask. Was it also discussed the releasing of international information in regards to corruption? Now, we're talking about the Epps files, we're talking about money laundering. Was there discussions, entertainment? Oh, they don't want to shuffle. Do you guys not want to read on this? No, they're telling me no, don't read on it. I'm going to tell you there were discussions and we are not to know at the moment. So I'm going to leave that there. Yes, there were discussions. No, I'm being shut down. That's why it took me so long to dredge that, because I had that as front of mind when I started this reading, but I have been shut down. And that means no, do not reveal any information about that. So, zipid lipid. Okay, big energy, big shift that took place at the G20. It will take a little bit to play out. Okay, thank you. They're saying don't say that because it's going to be bam, 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 bam. Okay, entertainment only. Leave it there. Deep breath. Look after your community. Got the street Christmas party coming up in a couple of weeks. I think I'm going to make a what we call a cob loaf dish. So you get a big round bread. You know, this is very 80s. And you pull all the insides out of the big round loaf and you fill it with cream cheese, French onion dip, spinach, you know, lots of other little bits and pieces go in. And then you use the bread and the crust to dip it out. Yummo! Haven't had one of those for years. And it's a very 80s dish. That last time I took it somewhere 15 years ago, I was swamped with people to know the recipe. So, time to get into the community and share. Okay, love to you all. Take care. Bye-bye.